Bridging the gap between Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, the journey of Talana continues in issue 3 of the HCD comic series. In just a moment, we will be diving into this issue, summarizing its events and the details that can clue us in on the ever-expanding lore of the Horizon universe. If you haven't watched our videos on the previous issues, make sure you check those out so you're all caught up in the story so far. We here at RSQ specialize in Horizon lore, so if that sounds like your kind of thing, make sure you subscribe and take a peek at the rest of our content. With that, let's begin. Our story picks up right as Talana and Amadis find themselves cornered by Chiron and his lackeys, claiming they have just found a bigger bounty than the machine they had previously wished to claim. Confused, at first Talana believes that Chiron is implying that she is the one he wants. However, he soon reveals that it's her companion that carries the price on his head. Chiron addresses him as Amadis Bet Ravish, the traitor of the Southern Spear. Before Talana can ask any further questions, with no other option, Amadis pulls the both of them off the cliff the hunter-killer had fallen from into the river below, escaping their would-be captors. The two hunters fight to stay afloat, finding what they can to take hold of. As the waters calm, the two find their way to the base of a waterfall and are able to come ashore. Once out of immediate danger, Amadis states that he owes Talana an explanation. In a cave behind the waterfall, he begins to tell the Sunhawk his story, so that she would know his truth before someone else might tell a different tale. As a younger man, wishing to simply serve his king and tribe, Amadis joined the Karja army, not fully understanding the gravity of his choice, nor the true mission of the Karja military under Sun King Jiran. And so, setting out into the Forbidden West, he and his fellow troops would engage in the infamous campaign that would come to be known as the Red Raids. There, he would witness butchery on a scale he could not have imagined. As the Karja slaughtered Utaru tribe's people after one particular engagement, he knelt beside a woman, putting pressure on a stomach wound. Suddenly, a voice from behind him commands him to step away and get to his feet. In frustration and pain, Amadis tackles the soldier. When the two crash to the ground, the soldier's helmet tumbles as well, revealing an unexpected sight. Clad in armor, facing Amadis, is a blonde-haired woman we are told is named Nessa. In the patriarchal society of the Karja, this act would be forbidden. Despite this, she had disguised herself so that she could serve her tribe with honor, a revelation that had to remain secret. Before departing, she leaves Amadis with a piece of advice. You can't show compassion, or they will mark you as weak or worse. You'll learn. Amadis would keep her secret, and in turn, she would keep his. As the Karja army would kill or capture their tribal neighbors, he and Nessa, despite their orders, worked to save as many innocent lives from the blade as they could, in spite of the price they knew they would most certainly have to pay. One night, Amadis finds himself in the company of his commanding officer, General Jediah Ko Variv. There, the general explains that he has sent two groups under his command, the Flash Brigade and the Southern Spear, to merge for an imminent attack. Horrified, Amadis speaks out, warning the general that they will face the combined might of the three unified Tenakth tribes and will surely be slaughtered against such odds, Nessa being among them. With no remorse or concern for the lives of his troops, Jediah states, "If a Karja soldier can't hold his own, let him face the sun's judgment." Amadis threatens to tell Karja High Command of the general's plans, but before he can leave, Jediah snatches him and attempts to put a knife in his back. Luckily, Amadis is able to avoid the stab, but in a fight for his life, he would kill the general. Though alive, his life as he had once known it was over. This, however, was not where his focus was turned to at the moment. He ran through the night as fast as his legs could carry him, hoping to avert the slaughter he had foreseen. Seeing the devastation upon his arrival, he wasn't able to run fast enough. The Karja forces had been soundly defeated. It seems Nessa did not survive. Since that day, Amadis has been branded a murderer and a traitor. After a bounty was placed on his head, the Ko Variv family burned his family's home, the home that had been previously seen in issue 2. It's evident that he carries tremendous guilt and sees no way back to having anything remotely close to his old life. To this, Talana replies, "Maybe you can't go back, but maybe you can move forward, like I did." Then she recounts her own journey of loss and redemption, beginning with her father and brother falling in the Sun Ring after speaking out against Jiran, having their heroic sacrifice stricken from the records of the Hunter's Lodge, and ultimately earning the rank of Sunhawk to ensure their legacy would be remembered. Handing Amadis's bow back to him, she hopes that he could honor Ness's memory in the same way, hoping to achieve some manner of peace, though Talana is admittedly still seeking to truly lay her past to rest as well. Just then, they hear a sound. Inside the cave is the dark armored claw strider they had fought before, heavily damaged and barely functioning. Swiftly taking action, Talana seizes the moment, ambushing the beast from behind. With one devastating stab of her spear, the hunter killer is finally felled. A lucky turn of fortune to be sure, one that quickly provided more questions than answers. Seeking the reason to why the machine was drawn here, the two venture deeper into the cave. There they find themselves at the foot of a small subterranean lake, and on the opposite bank, the distinctive visage of a cauldron door. Deducing that the machine had returned to its cauldron for repairs, they realize more of these machines will be produced and let loose on the world unless something is done. They plan their next course of action should be done to cause a cave-in, using blaze canisters from a herd of grazers they had seen outside the cavern. Before they can make their way, they hear the voices of Chiron's crew from beyond the waterfall. Worse yet, emerging from the lake to face them is a far more imposing threat. The protector of Horizon's swamps and waterways, the Shell Snapper, ready to lay waste upon those who had provoked its fury, thus concluding this chapter. All in all, this has been my personal favorite in the series thus far, learning the personal history of Amadis and how his past ties into such a pivotal time like the Red Raids. In the lore concerning the Carja campaign against the Utaru specifically, where Amadis was during this time, accounts were particularly gruesome. This section of the scanned glyph, the Mad Sun King, states the following. The Utaru, who sought to appease with gifts of grain, were slaughtered in such number that upon the following harvest, the maize grew black and blue with the blood of the dead. Interestingly enough, Carja records of the Red Raids are quite light concerning the Tenakth. It seems now more than ever that this is most likely due to the fact that where most tribes were simply able to survive the wrath of Jiran's madness, the Tenakth were able to get the better of the Carja. In this, we were treated to a particularly interesting detail from the comic, giving us a greater glimpse into the mysterious tribe. During his exchange with General Jeddia, Amadis mentions the 3 clans of the Tenakth. This would give greater credence to our assumption in the lore community that these Tenakth we see in the Forbidden West are different than the ones we see in HCD, presumably from the south. Additionally, we may be yet to see an entirely different sect of the tribe than what has been revealed to us as of now. Another small but significant detail found before the story begins in the section concerning Talana, we are given a small recap of the events of the previous issues. In this, the more dangerous dark armored machines are referred to as the Pax Alpha. If this will be the official title of these new machine hunters is unknown, but its mention in the text seems to be leading in that direction. Finally, we get to see the massive Shell Snapper in action. Like in the reveal trailer, we see this machine rising from beneath the water. Though we have to wait for the next installment, it's reasonable to think that we'll be seeing exactly what this machine is capable of. Personally, I'm hoping for some Blastoise-style water cannon action, but we'll just have to wait. Cornered in the cave, Talana and Amadis will have to face the massive Shell Snapper and perhaps Chiron and his cronies as well. What comes next? We'll just have to wait and see for the next issue of the Horizon comic series. And that brings our journey to an end. If you'd like to see more content like this, likes and shares are always appreciated. If you're hungry for more Horizon lore, make sure to hit subscribe and ring that bell. Also consider supporting the channel on Patreon so we can keep creating content just like this. Check out the link in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and keep questing.